What's up, Sagittarius? I just pulled the Temperance card. That is your card. So I'm going to do a little reading for you. First thing we want to do is get a snapshot of where you are standing at the beginning of this next week. This is the energy that's surrounding you. This is a picture of what you're doing. So for Sagittarius, let's see where you are at the beginning of this next week. Okay, you're starting off strong with the world. Let's just notice that the world can indicate travel. It can indicate foreign places. Obviously, it's the world. Look at the figure here. They are in flight. This could indicate that you're flying somewhere. It's very interesting because Sagittarius is associated with foreign places, with foreign countries, with long distance travel. And with this world here, I'm wondering how many of you are possibly thinking about traveling. I don't know. Before we say too much, let's look at the rest of the spread. So next, we're going to look at what's crossing your path, and then we're going to get the road behind and the road ahead. And the road behind is kind of like an energy from your past that is influencing you or your circumstances. Then we're going to look at the outcome to see what's kind of the destination here. All right, so let's start off with what is crossing your path this week. Whew. Okay, I just want to point out that the cards are jumping, but these cards literally bounced. There is a very important message that is trying to come through for you. That might be what the world is here. Look at the four corners of this card. Those are all angelic entities. And that figure in the center, think of it like a window or a mirror. And these entities are trying to get a message from where they are through the glass to reach you. So with that said, I'm going to try to take this slow so I don't interfere too much. I can just let the cards do the talking. What is crossing Sagittarius this next week? We've got the 10 of Swords. This is clearly the end of something, but with the world in the first position, I don't know. I don't really see it. I see you kind of coasting over everything, leaving some stuff behind. Okay. This time we did have a jumper, and it's the Wheel of Fortune. The world and the Wheel of Fortune. Can we just look at the visual rhyme here? The figure in the center surrounded by that round ornament with the four entities in the corners. And then with the Wheel of Fortune, we've got the round wheel in the center with the four entities in the corners. And this time we've got a Sphinx up there too. Again, this is like something wants to hammer home an important message. The Wheel of Fortune is movement. That relates to the world, of course. I'm seeing more travel here. I'm seeing a push to travel. I'm seeing a push to move on. I'm noticing that the world is looking backwards. There's probably a lot that you're having to leave behind. That's probably what this 10 of Swords is about. So there is kind of this feeling of regret. You know, oh, I didn't want to leave that behind. Ooh, I wasn't ready to let go of that. Oof, I wish I could have handled that ending better. But what can you do? The universe is pushing you. The universe is guiding you forward. And it's like you're carried along on a current. The woman in the center, look at that billowing scarf around her. It's like she's being propelled forward by a blast of wind. And so she can look back and look at everything that has been, everything that is ending, but she almost doesn't have time to think about it. This could represent a lot of changes, but potentially leaving a lot undone or unsaid. It's possible you might have to return to some of this stuff later. Remember, the Wheel of Fortune turns and turns. So there's a sense here that for the moment you're moving, you're leaving some bodies in your wake. Are these relationships? Are these, promises that you didn't get to carry out? We'll come back to the Wheel of Fortune. For the moment, let's get our road behind and road ahead before we get any more jumpers. The cards are talking today. What is the energy in Sagittarius' past that is influencing the present? Fear, insecurity, failure, loss. This is an interesting card to see in your past when you have the Wheel of Fortune here in your present. It's saying that some of you have been going through a period of darkness. Now, taken literally, this card does tell me that a lot of you have been dealing with financial issues. Some of you maybe lost your jobs. AI has been replacing a lot of people's jobs. So it's not crazy to think that a lot of people have suddenly found themselves out of work. I'm seeing anxiety about the future. I'm seeing anxiety about your prospects. This guy on the crutches seems to be chasing after this other figure, and she seems to be trying to leave him behind. There's a sense in this card, too, of, people don't need me. People don't want me around. What do I offer? What do I bring to the table? All right, let's look at the road ahead. What is in the road ahead of Sagittarius? The Judgment card. This is a lot of major arcana. You're going to feel either invigorated and excited or very pressured. And then you have the Wheel of Fortune kind of pushing things along. That is giving you some optimism. And that optimism clashes very much with this Five of Pentacles. It's almost like opportunities are going to appear that you've been dreaming about for a while. A lot of the insecurity that you're bringing in from the past is probably going to get in your way. And that actually might be one of the meanings for this 10 of Swords. How have I been limiting myself? That's a good question here to ask yourself. How have I been limiting myself by thinking about things in these terms or in those terms? Start thinking about what are some limitations that I have kind of just come to accept that I need to move past. With the Judgment in the road ahead, obviously we have themes of resurrection here. There's a message. There's a calling. Notice that the pentacles themselves are part of the stained glass window in this church. There's a sort of spiritual or religious aspect to that card. It's like a spiritual poverty. Some of you need to feed your spirituality. And I feel like these two cards are talking. Five of Pentacles in the past, Judgment in the future. It's almost like your guardian angel appears amidst the darkness. It's actually somewhere that you don't expect to find some type of resource or some type of help or some type of hope. It's potentially in a place you've neglected to look. And then look at the posture of the people here being raised from the dead. Some of them kind of look like they're saying, oh, okay, there you are. There it is. This is the sign I've been looking for. Some of the events of this next week are going to feel fated. They're going to feel like they were meant to happen. You might even get weird little coincidences throughout the week. You might want to look out for that. I want to look at the outcome. Let's see if we can tie all this together. What is the outcome for Sagittarius for this next week? The Ace of Cups. Man, that is a beautiful card to get in the outcome. And again, it's like you're just being pushed into something new. In your past, you feel like, God, there's just nothing going right. I even get this question when I look at this card of, where's the life I wanted? Where's the life I dreamed of? I swear there was more to life than this. And then with the Judgment card, you have that feeling of like, I knew it. I knew there was something more. The Wheel of Fortune, this is the card that jumped out. I want you to look at that Sphinx. You know, I looked at that figure, and the words that came to my mind were, do you get it now? There's a sense that something has been trying to teach you a lesson through a period of darkness or through a period of feeling lost. And so for some of you, I see that you've been tested through a period where you could find no meaning or where it seemed like there was no meaning. And maybe as much as you tried, it just never seemed like enough. As a kid, you always want to be loved by your parents, by your friends. And so a lot of kids turn into people pleasers because they just want to be well liked. And I think a lot of us have had that experience as children where it's kind of like no matter what you do, there's that person that just doesn't like you. And as a child, it can feel confusing. It can feel like, am I doing something wrong? Or is there just something wrong with me? Will I just never be good enough? You know what? Saying that, that's coming through with this card. A lot of you have been feeling like, I'm never gonna be good enough. And that's definitely a self-defeating way of thinking, which could be what this 10 of Swords is telling you. With everything that I'm seeing here, the Wheel of Fortune, the 5 of Pentacles in your past, this 10 of Swords crossing you, I would say prepare for a shock of some sort. There's gonna be a jolt. But I would say be prepared for that. You know, one of the things that the world represents is this kind of, what's the word? It can represent altered states of consciousness or mystical experiences. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever had an experience like that. They can come out of nowhere, and you have to be really quick to recognize what's happening and to shut up for a moment and listen to what the universe is trying to tell you. I've had experiences like this before, but they're a little too crazy to talk about. I wasn't on drugs, I wasn't on any substances, but I have had experiences where I heard things. I'll just keep it at that. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are going to have similar experiences this next week. They could be strange dreams. I would pay attention to that. They could be thoughts that just pop into your head. Especially if you find yourself dwelling on them, pay attention. What is the universe trying to tell you? Like I said, the Wheel of Fortune and the World, both of these cards have angelic entities in them. Messages are coming through. I don't necessarily see somebody reaching out to you. I see it more like the whole universe is trying to reach out to you. Like, look at the Judgment card. That is heaven itself trying to send you a message. Some of you are becoming famous. Some of you are going to become well known. But I think more than that, the cards are indicating here that your mission in life is actually going to be far-reaching. So while some of you are definitely going to be rising to prominence, gaining some attention, becoming maybe online celebrities, a lot of you are just going to impact a lot of people. And that actually puts this 5 of Pentacles into perspective. You can't help anybody unless you're wounded yourself. There's the old mythological motif of the wounded healer. I think in Greek mythology that's Chiron, who was a very gifted healer, but he was struck by a poison arrow. And because he was a god, he couldn't die. So he was just cursed to suffer eternally, healing the wounds of others, but never able to heal himself. Now that's a really dark version of that story, but it's a common motif, needing to understand pain in order to be able to heal others. Here we have the Ten of Swords, kind of echoing this idea of the wounded healer. This is what's crossing you this week. Are you coming face to face with your wounds? Are you seeing them from a new vantage point? The darkness that once dragged you down, the wounds that once made it impossible for you to move forward, are now the reason that you're being lifted up. Again, some of you are becoming famous. I could see for some of you having an online presence, you might be able to heal yourself by starting some type of, YouTube vlog or something, and it brings healing to other people. And here the Judgment card could indicate that your voice is reaching a large number of people. They are being raised from the dead, just like you were raised from the dead as you went from the Ten of Swords to the world. There's an idea here of revivification, even in the outcome where we've got the Ace of Cups. That hand there is a helping hand. The cups are feeling. It's your heart. So I can definitely see this as the sign of a healer. You guys are becoming healers, and you're becoming healers through your understanding of the darkness. This hand here, what it makes me think of, it makes me think of the old Cajun healers. In the Appalachian Mountains, they call them the power men. Down here in Louisiana, they call them the traiteurs. These are typically men who lay hands on you, and they can actually cure your illnesses. It sounds crazy, I know, but I've actually seen this happen. But this is what I think of right now. This is the image that's coming to mind with this hand and the cup. Is I'm seeing a hand of power. I'm seeing a hand of healing. And look at that dove. That's a spiritual power there. All right, so be prepared next week for some shocks. There will be surprises. Pay attention to your dreams. The universe is talking to you right now. You have to listen. For some of you, I see something having to do with screens here. It's like somebody comes through with a message on FaceTime, or some of you are on a Zoom call, or some of you see something through a window, but just kind of be on the lookout for messages this next week. They could come in unexpected ways. There could be a lot in your past that hurts. Some of you might have a ton of trauma. Maybe for some of you, it feels like that trauma is replaying itself at the beginning of this next week. But I see you kind of caught up in a tide. You might not even recognize it at first, because the World and the Wheel of Fortune are both major arcana. This is not necessarily something that's happening consciously, although you might be aware of it. Some of you who are a little more sensitive, a little more psychic, you might be able to see the signs. The rest of you might just feel like you're suddenly caught up in something new. This could just be a very sudden, noticeable change. Some of you might just have to move. Some of you might have an opportunity to go someplace that you've never been to before. This could be someplace in a foreign country. Or for some of you, it's like you just kind of get noticed. And again, you might not really realize that at first. The universe is moving to kind of shift things for you. If you pay attention, you might see it. If you don't, you might miss it. Nonetheless, it looks like you're coming towards some event where it's going to make sense. You're going to go, okay, I see what's happening here. Some of you might feel these old wounds suddenly healed. But all the while, I'm just seeing a kind of tide that's shifting, that's moving you, that's moving things around you. The circumstances in your life are going to start to change. That might actually be the most noticeable thing. It might not even be what's going on inside of you, although that is changing too. Some of your darker experiences and the emotions that you've attached to them, you're turning them into something new. Not necessarily consciously, but it's like an alchemical process is taking place inside of you. The world here can represent altered states, but it can also represent rising from the material world into the world of the divine. So this thing in your past, whatever it is, this darkness, this wound, this insecurity, this pain, it's like lead is being transmuted into gold, allowing for you to move in a new direction, allowing you to enter a new phase of your life, to start to heal yourself and others. And so to kind of put it into more concrete terms, we can think of this like at the beginning of the week, there is some type of surprise. There is something that could pop up, something potentially painful. Something might have to end, or you might put something behind you. The world represents a new chapter. Some existing situation is probably going to end up maybe put on the back burner, or you'll just say, this isn't worth my time. I got to cut this out. And for me, the way that I'm reading this is that it probably is related to some trauma and through some emotions that you've attached to that trauma. But I think for a lot of you Sagittarians, I think that there really is some genuine pain here. It could also be that whatever painful thing you confront this week, whatever wound you confront, You're looking at it from a different vantage point. We could call it a more spiritual vantage point. With this Wheel of Fortune here, I'm seeing that there are big things happening in your life, in your destiny. Something positive is going to come out of your pain. The Wheel of Fortune is ensuring that. But because this is major arcana, you don't necessarily see it right away. And even with this Judgment card in the road ahead, that's more major arcana. It's a feeling like, okay, you know what? I really am over this thing. I really am over this traumatic experience. It's a strange conundrum that you can't be reborn unless you die, unless some part of you dies. People talk about rebirth. People talk about wanting to be reborn. But nobody ever really goes through the work of putting some part of themselves to death. It's a heavy thing. What I'm seeing here is that there is a genuine rebirth. I mean, the 10 of Swords. How much lower can you get? This pain is making sure that you're stuck. But the world is now flying free, and this is you. The Wheel of Fortune is saying, now run with it. Now let's go. Let's go someplace new. And that Sphinx up top is like, this was all for a reason. Do you understand? That's the question. Do you understand? Bringing understanding to painful things. You're being lifted up and you're being called to do something. Like I said, there's an alchemy going on here in your spirit. And there's this Ace of Cups, something new emotional. This could be your heart opening up in a new way. This could represent romance. I'm seeing a lot of healing here though, and so to me this is the hand of healing. It's like that scene with the Grinch where his heart grows by several sizes, but for you it's kind of like fear or pain. And that is being transcended, and it's allowing your heart to overflow. There's something spiritual here with that dove, something spiritual about this healing. You're probably using this healing to heal others. There's something big about this because it's a Wheel of Fortune. The universe is saying, we want you here for this reason. We're calling you to do something. Are you going to listen? We want you to move. We want you to go somewhere new. We want you to go somewhere you never thought you'd go. To places you didn't expect. Again, look at her face, looking back. It's almost like she's surprised, or like she's looking back on her previous situation. And it's a positive thing, right? It's a positive change. All right, Sagittarius, that is all I have for you tonight. I see great things ahead for you. Now, it's almost midnight, so I've got to get to sleep. But before I go, I have to say, if this message resonated, please consider dropping a like. That pushes this video to more people, and you know that there's other people that need to hear this message. So let's pass along the good vibes. All right, with that said, I've got to go. Thank you for spending some time with me, Sagittarius. I'm wishing you all the best, and I will catch you guys next time.